This is ZNS Total Sports.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Kelsey Johnson. Welcome to Sports Wednesday. The Olympic Games are fastly approaching, and some of our local athletes are trying to obtain qualifications in the various sporting disciplines to get an opportunity to represent the country at the Rio Games this summer. The Bahamas has a rich history at the Olympics, making a first-time appearance at the Quadrennial Games in 1952. It wasn't until 1956 the country captured its first medal, a bronze won by Sir Durrett Knowles and Sloan Tharrington. 8 years later, Knowles and Cecil Cook won gold at the 1964 Olympic Games. It wasn't until the 1992 Games the Bahamas won its third medal, a bronze by Frank Rutherford in the triple jump. That bronze by Rutherford started a winning streak by the Bahamas at every Games held after the Barcelona hosting. To date, the Bahamas has won a total of 12 medals, 10 in athletics and 2 in sailing. Joining us live in studio is General Secretary in the Bahamas Olympic Committee, Romel Fish Knowles. Welcome, Mr. Knowles.
Thank you for having me, Kelsey.
This year is definitely a busy one for sports in the country, especially for the Bahamas Olympic Committee. What are some of the preparations being made by yourself and other executive members of the committee to ensure that our athletes are ready for the Olympic Games?
Well, right now their athletes are in their qualifying period, and our responsibility is to get all their paperwork in terms of their accreditation, their flights, their accommodations, their meals, their uniforms, and that type of stuff. So right now I'd say that the water is pretty muddy right about now, but it's a lot of fun just having the athletes do their thing in terms of qualifying, and then we're doing our business in terms of administration, making sure that when the games all go, we're ready for the games.
How many athletes have qualified so far for the Summer Games, and what sporting disciplines do they represent?
Well, right now there's about 30 athletes that have qualified in the sport of swimming, athletics, being 27 or thereabouts, and Rio rowing, as a matter of fact. For the first time, as you know, we're having rowing into the game, so we're very excited about that possibility.
Now, team sport is a major part of the Games, but it seems to be very difficult for our local teams to meet qualification standards. What can be done by the BOC and the local federation so we can have team representation?
Well, it's the way the International Federation set up the qualifying standard. Most times, Bahamas is faced with coming out of the Americas, which is a huge undertaking within itself, when considering that we're a small country having to compete against the Americans, Canadians, Mexico. And so as a matter of fact, we have a meeting in 2 weeks with FIBA to discuss just that. How do we make it easier for small island countries, obviously not to get a bye, but how do we make it easier in terms of qualifications? Because the way the system is right now, small countries will be very, very difficult for them to qualify.
And finally, what is the deadline for entries, and is the BOC planning anything special for those athletes who would have met qualification standards before leaving for Rio?
Well, the entries, the deadline, it's scattered depending on the discipline. I think the latest one will be in July, the first weekend in July. And as a matter of fact, yes, we will be planning some events for our athletes. We usually go to Government House and unveil the Olympic uniform produced by Puma. And it's a time for the athletes to meet some sponsors and to be congratulated because making the Olympic Games team is quite an accomplishment, and sometimes we don't appreciate it or appreciate it as much. We like to win the medals, but just making the team is a great honor, and we want to celebrate that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Knowles. Just a reminder that the Olympic Games will be held in Brazil August 5th through the 21st. On to track and field, where the annual Frank Pancho Ramming National Track and Field Championships got started early today. Our Charles Fisher was there for the sound of the first gun and filed this report.
The more than 1,500 athletes representing 37 schools all decked out and looking like future Olympic and world champions during the March Pass. 4 divisions they will compete in over the next 3 days: 7 and under, 9 and under, 11 and under, and 13 and under. Meet patron Frank Pancho Ramming never one to sit back, making sure everything is going smooth. Our young students not only good on the track, but in the talent field as well. Music. Uriah McPhee putting on a show. Officially opening the meet was the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Dr. Daniel Johnson.
We have kids here, they're staying at the wonderful Atlantis. They get to go to Bahamas for lunch. They get to come out here to this track. And so this is more than just a track and field meet. And what the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Sports are trying to do is more than just simple education and running. We're showing young people about being Bahamian, about being together, and a future that is all theirs. So we want you all to enjoy Nassau, enjoy this wonderful new facility, all the upgrades we have. You'll see more and more people come out during the course of the week. We welcome you, we love you, God bless you, and I hereby officially open the 33rd Pancho Raming Primary School Track and Field Championships. Thank you very much.
The kids were treated by the appearance of Disney characters like Elmo, Dora the Explorer, Mickey and Minnie Mouse, and Ninja Turtle, and that sent them into a frenzy. 200 meter heats on day one dominated the morning session on the track. Finals will be contested on Friday. Hope track fans go on down and cheer on the athletes over the next 2 days and support the youngsters. For ZNS Total Sports, I'm Charles Fisher.
Thank you so much, Fisher. There's still a lot of buzz about the recently held Mangrove Key Regatta. The Class C sailing event was deemed a huge success by all. The cane competition and the onshore activities only added to the excitement.
Based on the number of boats participated, we had no incident out there on the water, and we're going to go back to our sponsors. We're going to report as to what happened. We're going to show them how we spent their money, and I know they have confidence in us because they've shown over the years that they have confidence in what we're doing. And based on what has happened this year, I don't see why we can't have 25 boats in Mangrove Key sailing next year.
Well, that's all the time we have for sports. I'm Kelsey Johnson.
This is ZNS Total Sports.